Legend of Total War here, and today we're going to be rating another one-man Doomstack, this time covering Volkmar the Grim. So we're going up against 3 armies of Karakadrin, so they're a endgame crisis army. A lot of very dangerous units here for being on the war altar of Sigmar. But let's have a look at what he's got. He's got the Crow Feeder, which is very similar to the Bane Spear, especially with the direct damage ability there. I think that essentially is the exact same thing, but yeah, it also provides him with melee attack and weapon strength. So he doesn't have the Sword of Cain, so he's missing out on that 30% ward save, but that's good. I don't really want people sending in every single bloody one-man Doomstack with the Sword of Cain, because it makes it very boring, but this is interesting. We'll see how that goes. The Armor of Destiny, so bunch of resistance there. Jade Griffin, bunch of resistance and regeneration, and then the other Trickster's Shard. So that ability there should help strip away most of their spell resistance. I'm not sure if the direct damage stuff is affected by spell resistance. I would assume that it is, but I'm just not 100% sure. But I know that the Grand Soulfire would be. Now the thing is with Volkmar, when you're in his faction, you've done his destroying the Books of Nagash. He ends up getting like no cooldown on most of his battle prayers, so you can end up just constantly keep dropping down Grand Soulfire. Now looking at his resistances, he's got 45% ward save, which is pretty good, but it's not maxed out. 30% physical resistance, so I don't know what traits he's gotten yet, but I would hope that he got Sigvold and Wurzag straight, because that would really come in handy here. And then 30% missile resistance and some fire resistance. Spell resistance here doesn't really matter. Anyway, let's jump in here and see what he can do. Now, the funny thing is with this, is I've often questioned with Volkmar the Grim, is whether or not he's actually better on or off his mobility scooter. Now, against this kind of enemy here, there's arguments to be made for both sides. If he's on his mobility scooter, he has loads more health, he's unbreakable, and he gets banishment. But if he's on foot, the enemy missile units can't hit him. Now you might think, oh, but he's at 90% missile resistance, why does that matter? Well, you gotta keep in mind that even with 90% missile resistance, those guns are still going to do a ton of damage, just because there's so many of them. Whereas if you're on foot, they'll just be obstructed once you're in melee. Alright, how are we gonna do this? I think we'll wait for the enemy reinforcements. And I'll intercept them. Stay back a little bit. I'll intercept them when they're coming to about there. So we'll just wait for them to get there. So that shouldn't take much longer. Hammerers also could be a problem. So yeah, looking at this at the moment, he's at 75% physical resistance. Yeah, but if this is on constantly, that means 95% physical resistance. So we're basically maxed out for physical. The only problem there is magical, but if he's got that always active, then that means 65% magic resistance. Magical weapon resistance. So the biggest problem is just going to be missile units, I think. Alright, I'm going to run down over here while they're coming in this way. Because, yeah, I don't want to get shot by all that stuff, and I kind of want to be close to their reinforcement position. Double time! I'm not concerned at all about Slayers. Pretty damn quick with the banner on him. But I think we should be most concerned about missing. So maybe even fighting within the forest could be good. Yeah, so we want a nice big blob. Blobbity blob. Don't see me coming. That's on order. Without delay. At once. Whoops. At once. The Empire. Quickly now. Good, so the Nordland Runefang, 17,000 damage pretty much just done with that. Jeez, that is the Bane Spear. But it's got a 2-minute cooldown, so I can't just keep using it. And it's not affected by the Battle Prayer cooldown. And while the Grand Soulfire is good, yeah, you might also think, oh, why are you going into the forest? You're going to lose 20% melee attack. I'm not really relying on my melee attack to defeat these guys. I'm relying on the Battle Prayers. which isn't really affected by this stuff. And being in the trees over here will act as a bit of a shield to their missile units. Just make it so that we actually have a chance of dodging some of their shots. As you can see there, the flames are hitting the trees. It just reduced the amount of damage it's done to us. Anyway, he's got the Strider, so we'll just walk right through the trees anyway. So it's not going to slow us down. It's only going to lower our melee attack by 20%. Not a big deal. Especially considering our melee attack is in the hundreds anyway. But yeah, what we want to do while on the mobility scooter is just keep doing circles around them so that they blob up so their missile units can't shoot properly. Nearly 40,000 damage done already. That's it. Like I said, not really relying on the melee attack. But if we were, maybe try to hit their lords. Since the battle prayer is pretty much going to be nothing to them. Yep. Okay, here we go. Next one coming down for this. That is just fucking them up big time. That is really powerful. Nice number of missile units over there. We'll see if that banishment will get rid of it. I feel like banishment isn't as good in Warhammer 3 as it was in 2. Then again, these guys here do have a lot of spell resistance. Maybe I should have cast it close by because I've got the other Trickster Shard. But those guys there, you know, they are shooting at us. Alright, well, he does have really fast regen, so I'm a little bit concerned that he will eventually run out of it. Because it's going to be very difficult to inflict the army losses once we've hit our maximum regen, if we haven't killed enough of them. Because one of the great things about regen is that what regen you haven't used up isn't considered much for Bounce of Power. So you're just getting free Bounce of Power back as you're regenerating. But once you've used it up, then it is taken into consideration, making it more difficult to get the army losses. Come on. Don't want to stay there in one spot. Keep moving. Yeah. Using him in melee is not how we do this. He is actually kind of a spellcaster in this situation. You can give the odd attack order, but the main thing we want to be doing is the Grand Soulfire and the Nordland Runefang. Good, those are obstructed, that's what we want to see. And the artillery, I don't know where they are. If they're not shooting us, it's fine. I don't think the Flamethrower Iron Drakes are doing much. Nah, they're doing nothing. So not too concerned about them then. Alright, here we go. Time for a Bane Spear. The Empire's Bane Spear. This is also pretty good for just completely wiping out a whole bunch of units. This is where he's going to get the majority of his kills from. Yeah, use the Grand Soulfire to soften them up, and then the Nordland Runefang to kill them off. It's a really good combination, actually. Look how many got killed off because of the Runefang. Okay, that's also done a fair bit of damage. We should probably take that out. Alright, so, okay. We have taken out at least a full stack's worth of units now. At least a full stack. Actually, no. No, because not until a full army has come on would they have lost a full stack. Try to bring them up the hill a bit now.
Sigmar's will, without delay. Attack! At once! Double time! In the name of Sigmar! As you say!
Specifically these ones here. I'm not too concerned about the enemy artillery. I think going after them might be a mistake. Because we're not going to be amazing at getting rid of them. And we can use the trees to block them. Can I kick him down the hill? No, he's no Scarbrand. I can't do that.
Quick march! Very well! Glory awaits!
Right, keep moving, don't stand still.
At once! Sigmar's will!
Yeah, the troll hammer torpedoes, we really do need to focus on them as much as we possibly can. The thing is, we can't just stay there in prolonged combat with one of them, or else other ones will shoot us.
That's an order! Double time! It shall be!
Right, get over into the trees.
In the
Yep.
name of Sigmar!
I need them shields.
Without delay! To battle! At once! Quickly now!
It's also possible that the organ guns will hit their own troops.
The Empire! With speed! Galmaraz!
Can't count them. Yeah, they are hitting their own troops. As long as they stay moving. Okay, here comes a Bane Spear. It's going to kill off shitloads of them. I know it's not the Bane Spear, but it's quicker to say the Northern Runefang. Keep moving in round circles. Okay, that's the last of their reinforcements by the look of it, so we have fully wiped out it. Oh, hang on, no, it's not. Not yet. Can't see that. Right there yet. Still, 900 kills. We haven't used up our max regen yet. It's getting shot so much, though. But I gotta wonder as well, how much friendly fire are they doing? It's gotta be a fair bit. Especially during, on the slope. The AI is, typically speaking, ballistics is pretty bad in Total War games when it comes to hills.
Attack! The Empire! By Sigmar! For the Emperor!
Too much firepower there. Stay within the trees.
At once!
Way safer. Way safer.
Sigmar's will! Quickly now!
Okay, I'm gonna start rushing down the hill here. There's quite a bit of artillery here now. I need to get rid of that.
Offering battle prayers!
Oh, it's only done 56 damage. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. Forget it. I didn't realize it had done that little.
Glory awaits! With haste! Very well! Without delay! To glory! As you
The only thing it's doing is depriving Volkmar of the actual kills himself. Still haven't hit our max regen, but I kind of feel like it's coming.
double time!
Even with 90% missile resistance, these missile attacks, just the sheer number of them, they hurt so much.
For the Emperor! Immediately! Very well!
That's why we can't stand still. Just gotta keep moving.
The Empire! Crush them!
15 more seconds and another Northern Runefang's dropping down.
For the Emperor! Quickly now! It shall be!
Here it comes.
With haste! At once! To battle! Quick march! Sigmar's will! As you say!
Still haven't hit our max regen, so that's good.
Glory! Without delay! High priest!
Okay, now we've hit our max regen.
In the name of Sigmar! Immediately! By Sigmar!
We're just about hit our max regen. Come on, don't stand still, don't stand still. Get a little bit stuck on something there. Alright, now all of their reinforcements have come in. But
As you say!
when we've hit our max regen, our ability to sort of resist the bounce of power lost ends. So we just have to hope we've done enough.
Double time!
Oh, it's these fucking missile units. Their melee troop is just a joke, really, but these missile units, they're fucking me up.
It shall be! With speed! The Empire! Quickly now! Sigmar's will! Without delay!
That's it, trying to keep them in the forest. Pretty sure there's a bunch of artillery over there that they just never brought over here. That's fine. Balance of power is okay, everything considered.
Very well. In the name of Sigmar. As you say, glory awaits. Heldenhammer, double time.
That's it.
It shall be. Without
Yeah, at least the
delay.
damage
For the Emperor.
isn't coming in too quickly. So, we really need to try to take out these missile units, especially the guns, because with every gunner that we take out, we reduce the amount of DPS they can dish out to us at any given time.
Very well. Immediately.
Whereas, like, all missile units can essentially fire at us at any given time. Whereas, only so many melee units can attack us at once. That's why missile infantry is kind of more dangerous sometimes.
The Empire. For glory. Quickly now. In the name
Gotta
of
keep moving,
Sigmar.
don't stand still. Okay, here we go, another one of these. Good.
That's an order.
So clear off a whole bunch of them.
It shall
Really
be
try to make sure that we
as you say.
grab as many of the missile units as possible in this.
Haste.
Okay, that looks like the army losses. We got it.
Sigmar's will. At once.
Nice. So we managed to do nearly 200,000 damage.
Attack.
God, look at the forest here. Littered with dwarf dead. Alright, good stuff. Alright, so how would I rate something like that? Well, it's no village, right? So we can't just give everything 10 out of 10. Village is probably the strongest one-man Doom stack I've seen so far. So that kind of needs to be the benchmark. So this is not going to get a 10 out of 10. I do really like the fact that he sent it in without the Sword of Cain. That's really good. But we were very vulnerable to those missiles. I think he did the right call by going up against this kind of army here. Because this is where you're going to have the most difficulty. Like, if you go up against vampire counts, Volkmar can just sit back, relax, and just keep popping down those abilities and don't even have to micro at all. So, this is a more difficult enemy to go up against. Now, let's have a look to see what we've got in terms of, like, defeat traits.
This is wise.
Alright. So you got Scarbrands there. Not that important. Great Green Killer. Yep, that's what you want. Rat Catcher. No. That's good, I guess. Slay King Slayer is good. Not that important. It's alright. It's alright. So that's Archaon's defeat traits. Good. You need the wade through gore. Yep. Okay, you got Throt's defeat trait. I can kind of see what's going on here as he's moving up through north through the campaign. Yep. Yeah, that's okay. For the weapon strength, that's about it. That's all it really provides there. Yeah, not needed. Festus. Oh, there we go, Pride Assassin. That was the one I was curious to see if he managed to get. So that's, he actually got 25% physical resistance through all his traits, which is exactly how much he got. Loads of defeat traits. Have to count them up. He definitely got more than 10, so that's Hellebron there. Malekith. Tretch for speed, that's good. And Cetrus, whatever. Okay, so the only one here, sorry, the only one that's not here that I would have probably liked to see, which I don't think is that big of a deal, is Krokgar's defeat trait and Nakai's defeat trait. Typically speaking, when you've got powerful abilities like Crow Feeder and the Grand Soulfire, melee defense and resistances is the way to go because you just don't want to take damage. So the higher your melee resistance, the better. Because his melee defense is not that high, so an extra 10 or 20% melee defense would have been really handy. But at the end of the day, if you're on the mobility scooter, you really need the missile resistance, and it was maxed out, so that's fine. Getting Eltharian's defeat trait could have been useful for that. Same thing with Marcus Wolfhart's defeat trait, or Morga's defeat trait. That's a good one, but not essential due to, you know, you did have it maxed out, except for like magic missiles, which wasn't coming into play there. So yeah, in terms of that stuff, he did about as well as he could have. And then this stuff over here, you know, this is where you get for taking out the books. So 15% ward save all characters. That's good. So that's kind of like half of the effect of the Sword of Cain. But that doesn't stop you from getting the Sword of Cain as well. And if you did, it definitely would have made it easier to fight these guys in melee. But since we're at the max resistance cap for missiles, it wouldn't have actually made any difference. So I do really appreciate the fact that he didn't pick up the Sword of Cain. A lot of people just go and grab that because it's an easy way to just get an extra 30% ward save, making most characters a lot more deadly. Another thing is that it provides Unbreakable. Now, I do think against this enemy here, it may have been better to have been on foot. If we have a look at the difference here, right? So he's got 9,640 health. When we take him off here, 6,775. So he loses about a third of his health. But I reckon that being on foot would have made it pretty much impossible for gunners and the Iron Drake torpedoes to land any hits, because those were the things that was doing the damage to us. That's why I went into the forest, because I had to dodge that shots as the best I could. I couldn't just stay in melee with any one unit, because then everyone else would shoot at us. We had to stay moving. Whereas if you're on foot, then you could just go into the middle of a melee blob. They can't shoot you, you're just too small, and then you just keep popping down the abilities. And even though you're not unbreakable, and maybe you don't have as much resistance, same resistance. Lose a little bit of missile resistance, but that's not a big deal. You actually end up lasting a ton longer. Also, his melee defense is way higher when he is not on his mount. So sometimes the mobility scooter is actually a weakness. What I would recommend if you're going to do this kind of thing is tailor your mount based on who you're fighting. If you're going up against something with a lot of armor-piercing, accurate missiles, like the dwarfs, go on foot. You got to watch out with your leadership because you're not unbreakable, so having defeated Gottrik's defeat trait would be really good, but he's kind of hard to find sometimes. And if you go up against something that doesn't have a lot of missile units, let's just say Lizardmen or Warriors of Chaos, most Demons of Chaos, then you can go on your mobility scooter and you could just sit there and cast the abilities and not worry too much because they're not shooting at you. But it's entirely up to you how you want to go about it. Overall, I would rate this I'd probably rate it 9 out of 10 for how it is. Like, it's really good. Maybe even 9.5 out of 10. But it's not perfect because he did walk out of that with damage. And, you know, you got to consider what Village was able to do. You know, that's kind of got to be the benchmark. But I really do appreciate the fact that he didn't pick up the Sword of Cain. So bonus points for that, I suppose. So yeah, more along the lines to 9.5, I suppose. Although, to be honest, number ratings, they don't fucking mean anything. So give it your own number rating and let us know in the comments below what you would rate this. But you just got to keep in mind, you know, if you're thinking, oh, it's definitely a 10 out of 10, go and watch the Village one and Doomstack. It's from 2 days ago. It's called Village is Invincible. Sorry, Village the Invincible. Go and look at that and then tell me that this is a 10 out of 10 if that's, you know, if that's a benchmark for 10 out of 10, what's this? That's basically it. Anyway, that's the end of this one here, guys. Appreciate you, and I'll see you next time, fuckers. Bye.